Okay, good evening. I did promise that I was going to send a talk about today's meetings. Again, these talks are designed for all the newbies that have signed up, and I just want to go over the sheets today that were sent, and again, just to educate people on how these sheets work and potentially what you can win, and also you can see again. I did a talk the other night or yesterday morning about what to look for when you're looking for an abort meeting, and you'll see today. I wasn't happy with the Lismore track, and I certainly wasn't happy with the Geelong track, but they still won. Now I did say in my messages that the positive side of when I did do the sheets that I did the sheet on a heavy track. And you can see on a heavy track, it's why it's better to bet on a heavy track as opposed to a soft 6 or a soft 7. All right. As again, I didn't record. I didn't do any recording today. Matter of fact, I took the day off. I went down to the beach. Went for a big bike ride. You have to do that. You've got to clear your head. But I'm going to go over the sheets so you could see where you could have won and how you could have won it just simply by following the rules. All right, so what we'll do is we will go over the Lismore sheet and have a look what the play was had you just followed the rules. Okay, so in the first race, we had the 3, the 5, and the 9. All right, as you could see here, the 3 was 263. All right, now the pot was 64%. Now that number 3 never at any point hit 263, so you remove it. And then also we had number 5. So automatically, if you'd have bet on this particular race, it was a pass race. You move on to the next race, okay? Again, you could see that the markets themselves, there was nothing that was $1.75. The only one that was $1.75 was actually our one, which got heavily backed in. This thing had 4 or 5 lengths on it, and I should have wrote that on the sheet, but I didn't. But again, if you'd gone forward and looked at the sheet themselves and you thought, oh, okay, there's not that many $1.50, $1.60 favourites today. All right, there was one in race 3, there's a $2.05. So practice the art of going forward and seeing what's ahead. Again, there was hardly anything that was really short there today. All right, which means one thing, that the bookmakers saw what I was seeing, and they were seeing that the meeting was actually quite tricky. Okay. So if you'd played it forward and you saw that, okay, well, the meeting itself, that it wasn't packed full of these short price favourites. Okay, so we'll have a look at race 2, and mind you, again, let's just for argument's sake that you were betting today, let's just see if you did the right thing. Right, we go to race 2. All right, and you see that we had the 1, which was matched. We had the 6, which was definitely matched. The 8 was an emergency, and then we had the 11. Now, everything hit price, all right? There was a 60% pot. This thing here hit 290. Okay, now the argument could be here, you could have dropped the 11 and included the 8, all right? And even still, the 8 never hit price. So realistically, this particular race, okay, you could have dropped the 11 and loaded up on the 1 and the 6. That was the play for that race, because you got to remember, at 60%, had you dropped that runner to 290, it was going to be below its price. This thing never hit price, number 8, all right, which means that would have been a complete fill-up race. All right, that was the play. Again, when you're doing this on your own, you can't have all these thoughts going through your head, all right? The reason why you had to drop number 11 was because of that pot. It was too low to even dropping it by 20 cents, it was still going to bring it way below the minimum pot. And that thing only hit top price of $2.90. There was $3, I think, with one of the corps, but it was going to be hard to find. This thing opened up at $2.40. Maximum it got to was about $2.70. So that was a fill-up race had you bet in that particular race. All right? So it's just as easy as that, members. Had this thing been a higher pot, then you could have taken $2.90, but it wasn't. It was 60%, so there was no room for error with that particular race. Now, race 3, Okay, had you bet, it was going to be what was it? It was number 2 got matched, number 5 was definitely matched, and number 6 was matched. I think this thing hit $5.50, $6, so that was okay. All right, and the pot was 72%, so you could have taken $5.50 for that runner. All right, and it still would have been okay. So it was a loss race. The sub runner won. End of story. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now we go to race 4. And again, what won race 4? The favourite. Okay. Probably the 2 ran second. All right, and everything was fine to have a bet in that race. So you're basically 1 from 3 if you were playing in this meeting. Okay, and it's not the end of the world stuff here. All right, now we go to race 5. All right, and again, I think this race memory, that's right. So the sub runner won. Okay, now the play here was number 4 was $2.98. Okay, look at that pot was 69%. Okay, so the 4 never got price. All right, it was 260, 250 across the board. So the play then would have been to include the sub runner. Okay, now the sub runner hit, where was the sub runner? 310, 320. So it was to be included. It was another loss race. All right, so the play then should have been, you should have had the 6, the 8, and the 13. Okay, the 6 ran second, so it was a loss race. So now you're 1 from 4. All right, and it's not the end of the world stuff because you're still probably down only maybe a couple of units. And then you go to race 6, sorry. Okay, and then all of a sudden the play here would have been, okay, so Flick got price. Okay, 531. Okay, there was $5 for that. You could have got $5, so there was $5.50. So this thing hit price, so that was fine. The 6 was instruments, that hit price. The 9, what was the 9? The 9 was 536. Let's have a look what the 9 hit. Okay, the price was there. Okay, there was $5 for that runner. Okay, so that's fine. There was $5.50 around for that runner, so that price hit. And then number 10, okay, hit price. So the play then would have been to back the 5, the 6, the 9, and the 10. The 6 won at $13.50 and across. And then we got $11 with the corporate bookmakers. So that was a nice fill-up race because we had it rated at $5.15. So you're probably back to square or probably a couple of units up. And then in race 7. All right, had you been playing, okay, you would have had to have taken number 7, 267, hit price, and then this thing here was rated at 610. I think they backed this in, from memory serves me, they backed this into there's $6 there, so the price was there, and there's another fill-up race there. You could have even taken $5.50 for that. Okay, and that would have still got you a decent pot. All right, at $5.50, it's an 80% pot. You got 3 horses in the field. To be honest, I don't really recommend betting in the 3 horse field. But if you'd been playing, there's another win there. All right, and then in race 8, members, you can't. It's hard for me to say this without everybody not getting too confused. Opinion and betting scared is why people don't win. Because they're just worried that they're not doing the right thing. Just follow the rules and you are doing the right thing. Okay? That's the most important thing. All right? Just follow the rules that have been set out if you would have been betting today. Again, I didn't recommend to bet on this track. I don't like heavy tracks. We saw what happened on Sunday when we went on a heavy track. It was diabolical. All right? But this is just simulated. This is just to show you what these sheets can do and how quickly they can bounce back. All right? Now we go to race 8. And this was a good race because number 3 was definitely, the price was there. Number 7, which was the eventual winner, but number 12 was $14.11. All right, at no point did that horse hit $14. It was, I think, $10. So you dropped it and you added the sub runner. And again, this particular sheet recorded a 12-unit profit. All right, now it's not bad for a sheet that was meant to be a write-off sheet. All right, and all you had to do was just follow the rules, and that's it. That's all you had to do, and this is how easy these sheets can win. All right, and this is what happens. But you could see at no point was there any of these really short-priced runners. That we had runners that were $2.70, $2.90, $3, but nothing that was too horrible not to take on. So in this instance, all right, you don't abort. Because if you'd gone ahead and listened to my talk the night before or the day before, and I said, go ahead, have a look. And this is what you've got to do. You've just got to not be scared. You've got to take them on when you need to take them on. Again, if I was navigating, probably wouldn't have bet on the track. But a lot of people don't have to do what I do. All right, I bet differently, and sometimes I do things a bit different to what I'm trying to get everybody to do when I'm actually navigating. But you could see now that how quickly that the sheets do bounce back and how fast you can win money when you do listen to and pay attention to the rules. Now, we go to the next sheet, and this was the Geelong sheet. Bear with me for 1 minute. I'll just bring it up. The Geelong sheet. Where's Geelong? Here we go. Okay, Geelong. Now, I think this sheet ended up winning a couple of units. All right, now we look at race 1. And race 1, we had number 1, and that got matched. Race 2, Gumnuts, that got matched. And, it was a non-betting race because 3, 6, 7, 9, and 12. So forget about it. You shouldn't have bet in the race. 2 or more runners, unknowns. 3 runners, unknowns. It's an automatic pass race. Let's not even look at that race. Okay. Race 2, don't even look at it. 3 unknown runners, forget about it. Okay, so then we go to race 3. All right, and we have a look here, and we see that we had the 4 and the 14. Okay, so we had the 4 which got matched. Let's have a look. Race 3, 4 got matched, and the 14. I think there was a late scratch in number 7. That's right. I think that was on our sheet. Okay, and then obviously the 3 was nowhere near our price, so all you had to do was have just 2 runners in this particular race. Okay, if number 3 had hit price, okay, you could have included the 3 if you wanted to because of the deductions. All right, but in that instance, if you're not sure what price to take, just abort on the race. Okay, not abort. You should have just taken 2 runners, which was the 4 and the 14. All right, so it's a loss race. So you've lost your first race. You go to race 4. Okay. And we have a look what happened in race 4. We had the 2, which never hit price, so we dropped it. Okay, and then we would have gone the 9, the 10, and the 15. Now the 9 was surely hit price, the 10 hit price, and the 15. Now the 15 itself, I know, so it's a pass race. End of discussion. Okay. So because 2 runners didn't get matched, so it's a pass. Or if you wanted to, you could have dropped the 2. This thing I know hit 450 or something. I know it was around the 450 mark because I was around for watching some races, but then I just took off. But I know this thing did hit 450. Now with the late scratching, you could have taken it, but to be safe, pass race. Okay, so we go to race 5. Okay, and this was a loss race. We had the 5, the 6, the 9, and the 16. Now the sub runner won, so it's a loss race. All right. The 5. Let's have a look at our runners. The 5 hit price. The 6 hit price. Well, the 6, yeah. Well, there's 340 there. You could have taken 340 for that runner. We had it rated at 358, 384. So you could have taken 30 cents, 40 cents off, that's fine. Okay, and then the 12 and obviously the 30. So it's another loss race. So you're I think you're 2-0. Okay. Race 6, I think this should have been a pass race because we had the 1, which was 366, never hit price. And there was another runner, I think, that never, Cupid's Bowl, where was it? Number 8, I think. There was one runner that never remotely hit price. Number 11. All right. So it's a pass race. So you've only really, you've basically passed 4 races so far. So you're only down to a few units. And I think the last 2 races, the winners came home. And then you got race 7. You've got race 6, race 7. You've got the winner. You've got number 4 and number 5. You've got price on the both of them. It's a win race. Okay. One of our runners got scratched, but we still made price on our runners. And then in race 8, so I'm just watching a race at South Africa. So if I go a little bit quiet, it's because I'm just watching a race. But that's okay. I'll keep talking. And then in race 8, okay, it's a winning race because we had the 3, the 11, and the 13. Now the 13, I'm sure it hit $7. There you go. It will actually hit $7.50. So there's a meeting there. There's I think 3 maybe betting races, 4 I think, and you've won 1 unit on this meeting because of the last race. Had you just followed the rules, again, I'm not doing anything here that's overcomplicated. Okay, I'm not asking you to look at the markets. All I've said is just have a look at what the sheets are doing. Okay, have a look what the markets are doing. And again, there wasn't that many runners that were like $1.90, $2.50. There's these ones here, but there was a late scratching, or there was some scratching on. And so this thing here got backed in from 3 to 1. But in the morning when I do these lines, there wasn't that many runners that were really short. This was probably the shortest of the day. Okay, so again, it's you've won a couple of units had you just followed the rules here, all right, and that's all you need to do. And in these on days like this, okay, if you want to bet and you see yourself saying to yourself, you know, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Just follow the rules. You know what I mean? And that's all you need to do. If you just follow the rules, there should never be a problem. Okay. I will now go to the Townsville sheet. Don't tell me I've lost internet. I think I've lost internet. No, I haven't. Okay, so we go to the Townsville sheet. And I think this was a fairly decent meeting. Okay, had you just gone and just bet on your own. Again, have a look at the sheets, all right? You know, there wasn't that many short price runners. We weren't taking on that many, but let's just go over the sheet and you'll see that, you know, where you could have won your units today there. Now race 1, we had the 3 and we had the 6 and we had the 5. Now the 3 and the 6 never hit price. The pot was fairly low. It was a 62% pot. Both of them pass race. End of discussion. Don't bother. All right. This number 3 never really hit price. It hit 290. This thing never hit price. Or you could have dropped the 6 and gone 3 and the 5. Because the pot was so low and 2 runners didn't come near price. Just especially when you've got these runners that are in the market. You don't want to be mucking around for these runners. All right. And when you got that pot that's so low. All right. So, you know, that was a pass race. That wouldn't have been a bet. In race 2, we had another instance where I don't think it was a bet race. Looking at the sheet, we had the 8, which was rated at 4.15. We nowhere near price, not even 20 minutes out or 15 minutes out. And then I think it was number 12. Where was it? It was number 11. We got price. Number 12, we did not get price. And number 13. Okay, so the 12, all right, we wanted 623. All right, the pot was 68%. Now, I know when I looked at this race, it was $5, $5.50. It hit extremely late, $6. When I say late, it was $4.50, $5 the entire way through. $5.50, $5.50, $5.50. All right, you could see here this thing never hit, and because we had a runner that was well below price, you could have done 2 things. The best thing to have done was just to bin the race, which is what you should have done, because no one would have come near this $6. They didn't hit $6. The best you would have got for this thing was 3 minutes out, 1 minute out was 5. Forget about what you see right there in that $6. That's like right at the depth. Sometimes it's even after the race jumps. But when you're live, you're not taking a horse rated at $6.23 at $5 when you've got a 62% pot. It's just madness. Don't do that. All right. So that was a past race. All right. I don't think about it when you're sitting here on your own. You shouldn't be sitting here going, oh, what do I do? The market's dictating to what you do here. Now in race 3, okay, everything got matched, no problem. What won the race? I think some roughies come up and won. Everything. It was a bet race. End of discussion. You got second. I think lived the moment. That's right. You got second. So it was a lost race. So you've lost your first race. Okay. And I did say this meeting, out of all the meetings that I did send today, was probably the better one. All right. Now you were only down one race so far. Race 1 and 2 were non-betting races. Race 4 was I'm sure it was a loss. Okay. Everything was honky-dory to have a bet. All right. And something's come out, and I remember this horse actually. This horse rated. I don't know why it wasn't on the sheet, but sometimes I make a decision because I don't like certain things in this particular runner. So then race 5. Okay, I think you got the winner here, but we couldn't get price. So but it would have been a pass race because number 2 never got matched, and I think number 3 never got matched. So it's a pass race. So you're only 0 from 2 from 5 races down. Okay, it's nothing. You haven't lost anything. You're probably down maybe 4 units tops. Okay, then you go to race 6. Okay, and you have your first winner. All right, where is it? Race 6. Where's race 6? Okay, you got your first winner. Now number 6 got matched. Okay, number 6 got matched. The Grove, no, it was an emergency. Sorry, number 6, the Mighty Marble, they got us well and truly. And the 8, which was the winner, it got matched, and the 14. So it's your first winner. So you've now probably down a unit, 2 units tops. All right, you go to race 7. And I'm sure this was a big fill-up race. Okay, you've got number 1. Okay, number 1 was well below price. Okay, you could have probably taken 250. I wouldn't have taken 250 if I had that pot at 62%. Okay, so that was a big fill-up race had you bet in this particular race. You've got number 2 rated at 790, and you've got massive overs, but then you've got the 4. So you could have had in this particular race the 2, the 4, and the 8, and it's happy days. All right, and that would have been a really decent, because look what it paid. It's paid 16-1 at a horse rated at 7-1. You could have dropped the 1, or you could have kept. If you want to take 250, I wouldn't have cared. All right, 250. Well, but in this particular instance, let's just say that you took 250. That's fine. You still would have had a big fill up. Okay, so now you've won 2 races. Okay, and then you go to race 8. And you've got the 5. This thing got backed in heavily. I know that. This thing was where was it? Race 5 was 583. Now the 5, I wasn't around for this, so I just bear with me for a second. So the 7, it got matched. The 8, it was an emergency. The 11. Where was the 11? It got second, and the 15. Okay, so I know this thing here. Now we had a pot here of 71%. Now we had it rated at 583. You could have probably accepted $5 for it. If there was $5 around for then you had to drop this runner. End of discussion. Okay, so the play then should have been the 7, the 8, the 11, and the 15. Bad luck, you didn't get price on the 5. It happens. But I know this thing got heavily backed. Okay, it was there you go. It was $6.50 into $4.40. So if you'd taken the price early or you dropped it, it doesn't matter. But you still would have won for the day. Okay, you would have been up 4 or 5 units, and you would have dropped 2 races. So there you have it. Where if you just follow the rules when I'm not around. But the most important thing that I did see today when I did go through the markets, I didn't see these really short price runners. Now, I didn't like any of the meetings today. the only meeting I did say was to have a look at was probably the Townsville meeting, and that ended up being the one where you probably, and the Lismore meeting won pretty well. So again, okay, you're seeing things that you need to, look ahead, have a look, especially when you're on your own. I don't like Monday and Tuesdays. They're my day off, as everybody knows. But, you can still make money. I'm not saying that you can't make money. Just because I decide, hey, I'm taking these 2 days off, I'm not recording. So the sheets today, had you followed the rules, had won 21 units. Okay? Just like that. And that's how easy it is to get them back. So whatever you lost on Sunday or Saturday, you got it back on a bad day. All right, on a really bad day. And I wasn't overly complicated here. I wasn't showing everybody, these new tricks. Just follow the rules when you're on your own and never bet frightened. Again, you could see the power of these sheets, how quickly they can come back. And again, you didn't have to abort today. We weren't taking on that many short price favourites. And that's ideal for us. Had the sheets been littered with $1.50, $1.60 favourites and you were down the first 3 races, by all means abort. Okay? So, I'm going to start talking heavily more about this so people can get their heads around it. Please, it's critical, everybody. Don't ever bet scared. All right? You can't do it. And just because you lose heavily on one day, trust me, the very next day you can get it back. And you can see that. Okay? It comes back very, very, very fast. All right? Thanks, guys.